Okay, welcome to our revision series. Okay, so this one we are going to be revising different questions. Okay, so the first one is from EIB June 2025. Okay, so the first question we are going to be revising question 1 and question 2. Okay, so the question 1 is on equations which are quadratic equations, simultaneous, and there is a real life problem where we can apply these equations. Okay, so the second question is on number series, which is a quadratic series. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with this to see how do we solve this under exam situation. Let's do our revision here. Okay, so the first question is just that it is asking us to solve for x. So it's just that x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equals to 0. Okay, so when you get a question like this, these are quadratic equations. They are in the form ax squared plus b plus bx plus c is equals to 0. Okay, so when you find out that this a is 1, in this case, you can see that x squared has no coefficient, so this means that a is 1. Okay, so the easy way is to write that is this. You write sum. Okay, this term b, you write it sum here, b, so it becomes minus 5. Then you write product. This term, the c part is a product. Okay, so it becomes minus 6. Okay, so now you are finding the numbers which if you multiply product, mean if you multiply you get minus 6, and if you add them you get minus 5. Okay, so let's look at the factors of 6. We might have 3 times 2, we can get minus 6, but one of them has to be negative. Okay, so that means that there is no way we can get 5. Okay, the other thing is you can have 6 and 1. Okay, this one, if you put negative 6 times 1, if you add them you can get minus 5. Okay, so this will be our choice. Okay, so this means that our sum is minus 6 and plus 1 get here, and here we can get minus 6 times 1, you can get this one. Okay, so you are just finding the numbers you can multiply to get this product, and you add to get this sum. Okay, so in this case we found that minus 6 and 1. Okay, so now what you have to do now is just to write x minus 6 and x plus 1. Okay, so this will be our simplification from this, then it is equals to 0. Okay, so now you have to write x minus 6 is equals to 0, or x plus 1 is equals to 0. Okay, so now you have to simplify this and this separation. This one, if you take 6 in this side, you get x is equals to 6, or x is equals to minus 1. Okay, so this will be our answers. Okay, so let's go to our next question. Our next question says that 3x minus 1 in bracket and x minus 4 in bracket is equals to 16. Correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, so when you usually you see this correct to 2 decimal places, this means that you cannot get it exactly. So this means that you have to use our quadratic formula. Okay, so our quadratic formula says that it's a x is equals to minus b plus or minus root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so this is our quadratic formula. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is to expand this so that it becomes a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation is like this: x squared ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. Okay, so we have to expand it to be in this form. Okay, so let's do that. So here we multiply 3x times x, it becomes 3x squared. Then we multiply 3x minus 4, it becomes 12x minus 12x. Then here it becomes minus x minus 1 times x. Then here minus 1 minus times minus 4, it becomes 4. Okay, is equals to 16. Then we simplify, it becomes 3x squared minus 13x. Then we take the 16 to come this side, you change the sign. Okay, so it becomes minus 12. Okay, is equals to 0. Okay, so now we have our quadratic equation. The only thing that left is to substitute to our formula. So this formula, you have to remember it. It is very, very important. You have to remember it. Okay, so the next step now, we are substituting to a formula. Okay, so this first term will be a, this second term will be b, this third term will be c. Okay, so let's substitute. It becomes x is equals to minus b. Our minus b is minus 13. B is minus 13. Here you have minus. Okay, so it becomes minus 13 plus or minus root b squared. Okay, so b we have to square it. Minus 13 squared. Okay, minus 4ac. 4a is 3 and c is minus 12. Okay, okay, so all over 2a, 2, our a is 3, so it becomes 3. Okay, so simplifying this, we get here we get 13 plus or minus root. Okay, so here we get 13 squared, you get a number. Then let's do it. It's 13 squared, supposed to be 169, right? Okay, so we get 169 here. Then here we have minus and minus, so this means it becomes plus. Okay, here is 4 times 3 times 12. Okay, so this becomes 12, so it means 12 times 12. Okay, so it becomes 144. Okay, so after that, then over here 2 times 3 it becomes 6. Okay, so it becomes 6. Okay, so if you punch this on the calculator, uh, you get 13 plus or minus root 313 over 6, right? Right. After that, you have to separate this, so x becomes this 13 plus root 313 over 6, or becomes x is equals to 13 minus root 313 over 6. Okay, so if you punch this calculator and round to 2 decimal places, you have your answers. Okay, okay, let's go to our next example. Our next question is just that 4x minus x squared is greater or equal to 0. Okay, so the easier way we can do this is by drawing a graph of 4x minus x squared. Okay, so this is the easier way. We want to see where this graph is greater than 0. Okay, so the first thing is we equate this one to 0 so that we can do this. Okay, so 4x minus x squared is equal to 0. Now let's say is equal to 0 because we have to find when it is greater than 0. Okay, so we want to draw this graph first. Okay, so let's say it's equals to 0. So this means that we have x is equals to x 4 minus x is equals to 0. Okay, so this means that x is equals to 0 or x is equals to 4. Okay, so let's draw this graph. Okay, we have to draw this graph. If you see this coefficient of x squared is negative, this means that our graph is like this, is like an n like this. Okay, so now let's draw it. Okay, so the first thing is to draw our coordinates like this. Okay, so the first it is starting on 0 and cutting on 4. Okay, so this means that our graph is like this. Okay, it's not so good, but that is the shape of the graph. Okay, so this is our y-axis, this is our x-axis. Okay, so here we have 0 and 4. Okay, so after drawing this graph, we have to find where this graph is greater than 0. Okay, so this is 0, right? You know this is 0. Okay, so we have to find. Okay, so this means that this graph is above 0 here, only here. Okay, this is where it is greater than 0. Okay, so this means this our answer lies from here to here. Okay, since this is an inequality. Okay, so this means that we have to write it as 0 from 0 to 4. Okay, so we write it let's write from 0 to 4. Okay, so this meaning of this means that 0 is less than or equal to x and x is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so this will be our answer. Okay, let's go to our next example. Our example says that 5 to the power 2x minus 1 and 5 to the power x minus 1 is equals to 4. Okay, so here we have to solve for x, obviously. It's an equation. Okay, so the first thing when you see with these powers, okay, the x is a power. Okay, the first thing is you want to make sure that it is simplified as easily as possible. Here you can see that 5 to the power x is common here. So we can say 5 to the power x is equals to any number. In this case, let's say 5 to the power x is equals to y. Okay, so we will solve for y first, then we use this equation to solve for x. Okay, so the first thing, okay, using our laws of indices, we can know that 5 to the power 2x is equals to 5 to the power x squared. Okay, so this means that we can substitute y to the power x to the power 2 on 5 to the power 2x. Okay, so we are substituting here with y squared. Okay, so this means that it becomes y squared minus 1 over 5 to the power x. This is y. Okay, so y plus 1 is equals to 4. Okay, so now we have to solve for y first, then after solving for y, we'll solve for x using this equation. Okay, so we have this equation. Let's say it's our equation 1. Okay, so we use that in this one. Let's say equation 2. We solve our 2 first, then we'll get to 1. 1 will get at x. Okay, so the first thing is now we have to say y squared minus 1. Okay, we are cross multiplying, it becomes 4y plus 4. Okay, putting all this in this side, we get y squared, then minus 4y. Okay, then minus 4 minus 1 becomes minus 5. Okay, it becomes equals to 0. Okay, so now we have to solve this quadratic equation. We have to find the product and sum again. So our sum is minus 4 and our product is minus 5. Okay, so after that, now we have to go here. We see what numbers 2 we can multiply to get minus 5, and we can sum to get minus 4. Okay, so here we have the factors of 5 are only 2. Okay, so this means that it becomes easier. Okay, so anyhow, somehow we have to make sure 5 and 1 can be multiplied to get minus 5 and get minus 4. Okay, so if you say minus 5 times 1, we get minus 5. If we add this minus 5 plus 1, we get minus 4. Okay, so this means that this is our factor. Okay, so our answer becomes y minus 5, y plus 1 is equals to 0. Okay, so now we have to go and say y is equals to 5 or minus 1. Okay, so now we can see if we substitute minus 1 here on y, it becomes 0, which is non-applicable. Okay, we can see it. Okay, let's look at how we can see that it's not applicable. Okay, so now let's substitute to this equation 1. Okay, so we will now say 5. We are substituting from this equation. Now we say 5 to the power x is equals to 5, or 5 to the power x is equals to minus 1. Okay, now 5, there is no way we can power 5 to any number to get minus 1. There is no way. It's non-applicable. Okay, so now we can clearly see that this one is non-applicable. Okay, we cannot, this one does not work. Okay, so we can cancel that, or can just write it's non-applicable. There's no means like that. Okay, so this means that we only have this one. Okay, so this means that 5 to the power x is equals to 5. Okay, so this means x is just 1. Okay, so our answer states that x is equals to 1. Okay, okay, let's go to our question 5. Our question 5 states that x plus 3y is equals to 2, x squared plus 4xy minus 5 is equals to 0. Okay, so in these two equations, we have to find x and y. Okay, okay, so the easy way of solving this simultaneous equation is by substitution. Okay, so this means that we have to substitute any variable from this side to this side, or this side to this side. Okay, so how do we choose which side to choose from? We find we choose an equation which is simpler. Okay, this one equation is very simple. We can easily make any subjective formula, any variable subjective formula, and substitute it here. And this is a little bit complex. It is hard to make a subjective formula. Okay, so this means that we are choosing from this side to this side. Okay, so now we have to choose which variable to substitute. Here we can see that y is only written once here. Okay, so this is easier variable to substitute here. Okay, so now the next duty is now to make y subjective formula from this. Okay, so how do we make the y subjective formula? We just put this x this side, so it becomes 3y is equals to 2 minus x, then we divide by 3, so it becomes 2 minus x over 3. Okay, so this is our y. Okay, so now we have to substitute y into this equation. Okay, so it becomes x squared plus 4x, then we substitute this one, it becomes 2 minus x over 3 minus 5 is equals to 0. Okay, so now our next step, our next thing is to simplify. So after simplifying, we get x squared plus 8x minus 4x squared over 3. We are just multiplying this with this 4x, then minus 5 is equals to 0. Okay, our next we want to get rid of this, so we multiply each term by 3, so it becomes 3x squared plus 8x minus 4x squared minus 15 is equals to 0. Okay, we're just multiplying each term by 3. Okay, we're just multiplying each term by 3. Okay, so after solving this, we can see that our equation becomes minus x squared plus 8x minus 15 is equals to 0. Okay, we can multiply this all by negative so that this one, our equation becomes, it starts with a positive. So our equation becomes x squared minus 8x plus 15 is equals to 0. Okay, so this is when we multiply by -1. Okay, we just multiply by -1, we get this. Okay, so our next thing is to solve this. Okay, so like we said, we have to find, if there is no coefficient here, we have to say our sum is -8 and our product is plus 15. Okay, so this means that we have to choose two numbers we can multiply to get 15, and we can add to get -8. Okay, so this means that on factor, we just have to find the factors of 15 first. We have 1 times 15, we can get 15. 3 times 5, we can get 15. Okay, so if you can see, this is the only way we can, 3 times 5, this is the only way we can get -8, but we have to add minus here and minus here. Okay, so this means that our sum is -3 minus 5. Okay, so now we have to come here and say x minus 3 in one bracket and x minus 5 in another bracket is equals to 0. Okay, solving this, we get x is equals to 3 or 5. Okay, we just have to say x minus 3 is equals to 0 or x minus 5 is equals to 0. Okay, so this will be our answer for x. Okay, so now to find our answer for y, we are just have to substitute these answers for x in this equation. Okay, so this means that it has to be 2 minus 3 over 3, or it becomes 2 minus 5 over 3. Okay, in this case, we get y is equals to, here we get is equals to -1 over 3, or here we get is equals to -1. Our next question here, we are given a cube, so we are being asked to find its volume. Okay, so the first step, we are given areas of each side. Okay, so let me try to draw a rectangular prism here. Okay, let's say this side is A, this side is B, and this side is C. Okay, so we are given the areas of each side. Okay, so the areas of this side A, this side is said to be 6 root 5, and the area of this side BC is said to be 3 root 2, and the area of this side is said to be 2 root 10. Okay, so our first step is to write a formulas which that can help us to find B, C, and A. Okay, so the first thing is, we can say A times B should give us 2 root 10, right? Then A times C should give us 6 root 5. Okay, then the other thing is, if we say B times C is supposed to give us 3 root 2. Okay, so our first step here, we are going to be simplifying this. Okay, so let's start by simplifying this. Let's say area A, because we have 3 equations here, 1, then equation 2, then equation 3. Okay, so let's say we want to eliminate A, so we can say this equation over equation, so you can say equation 1 over equation 2. Okay, so this means that it becomes A B over AC is equals to 2 root 10 over 6 root 5. Okay, so now what do we have to do? So now we can cancel A and A. Okay, So this leaves us with the 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 6, 3. Then here we can see that B over C is equals to 1 over 3. Root 10 over root 5 is root 2. Okay, so it's 1 over 3 root 2. This is B over C. Okay, so now we can substitute, we can say, we can make B subject to formula. Let's say B is equals to C over 3 root 2. Okay, now we have to substitute this on this B. Okay, on this equation 3. In equation 3, we have to substitute B as this. Okay, so B becomes, so we are now saying is B, we are substituting B with C root 2 over 3, then C is equals to 3 root 3. Okay, so this means that we have we have a root 2 here and root 2 here. Okay, it's root 2 here, root 2 here. Okay, so this means that C squared is equals to 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, so this means that C is equals to 3. Okay, after finding C, we can easily find B. Okay, if we find C is 3, if we put 3 here, so B is equals to root 2, right? Then if we find B, we can find A. Okay, so this means that A is equals to, if we put root 2 here, so this means that A is equals to 2 root 10 over root 2. Okay, if we substitute, if we simplify this, we'll get 2 root 5. Okay, this is our solution. Okay, so you can see that B is a root 2, A is 2 root 5, and our C is 3. Okay, so now to find the volume, we just have to multiply all this. Okay, so the volume V becomes 3 times root 2 times 2 root 5. Okay, if you know the sets very well, you can easily say the answer is 6 root 10. Okay, so this will be our volume. Okay. Okay, here we have our seventh question, which states that the first four terms of a quadratic pattern are 15, 29, 41, and 51. Then write down the fifth term. Okay, so easy. First thing we have to find the pattern. Okay, this is an increasing. Since it's quadratic, we know that it will decrease later. Okay, so let's first find the common between these. Okay, so let's say T1 is equals to 15, T2 is equals to 29, T3 is equals to 41, and T4 is equals to 51. Okay, so now our duty is to find a T5. Okay, so let's find the difference between 29 minus 15 is 14, 41 minus 29, it's 12. Then we have to just find the difference, right, between these two. Then 51 minus is 10. Okay, so now we can see that this 41, 12, 10, the difference is 2 here, is 2 here. Okay, so this means that the next term is going to be 8, so that difference can be 2 again. Okay, so this means that we, to find T5, we just have to say 51 minus 8 plus 8, 51 plus 8, which is 59. Okay, so this means that our fifth term is 59. Okay, let's go to the next one. It's saying that determine the expression for the nth term for the pattern in the form. Okay, so we just have to use this form to find the formula for this one. Okay, so since T1 is 15, so this means that T1 is equals to A. We want to find A, B, and C. Okay, so 1 squared plus B 1 plus C, which was equals to 15. Okay, then T2 was equals to, so now let's just square, so it becomes 4A plus 2B plus C is equals to 29, right? Then T3 is equals to 9A plus 3B plus C is equals to 41. Okay, so we're going to be using these three equations to find our A, B, and C. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so the first step is to make C subject to formula and go on. Okay, so T1, so T1 is 15, right? So let's make C subject to formula. Okay, C is equals to 15 minus A minus B. Okay, so from our equation 1, we can see that C is equals to this. Okay, so our next step is going to be substituting this C into these ones. Okay, here we have the equations that say A plus B plus C is equals to 15, 4A plus 2B plus C is equals to 15, 9A plus 3B plus C is equals to 15. Oh, it's not equals to 15 here. It's equals to 29. It's 29. Then here 9A plus 3B plus C is equals to 41. Okay. So now we have to solve. We have successfully made C subject to formula here. C is equals to 15 minus A plus B. Minus B again. Okay. So now we have to substitute this in these two equations. This means that 4A plus 2B plus 15 minus A minus B is equals to 29. Okay. So we'll simplify this later. Then here we can see that 9A plus 3B plus 15 minus A minus B is equals to 41. Okay, so now let's simplify this. If we simplify this here, we can get 3A plus B is equals to, so we put 15 here, 29 minus 15, which is 14. Okay, then we go to the next one. So we can say this here it's 8A plus 2B is equals, if you say 41 minus 15, 41 minus 15, we get 26. Okay, so our answer becomes 26 here. Okay, so now we have to solve for A and B. Let's make B subject to formula here. If we make B subject to formula, it becomes B is equals to 14 minus 3A, right? Minus 3A. Okay, so this equation can be simplified. Let's divide it by 2 by 2 by 2. So it becomes 4A plus B is equals to 13. Okay, so now we are substituting this into this. Okay, so this means that 4A plus 14 minus 3A is equals to 13. Okay, so this means that our A is equals to, if we say 4A minus A, we get A. Then 14, if we put it here, A is equals to minus 1, right? So, and our B, we substitute it here. If we put it minus 1 here, we get 17. Okay, then if we put A and B here, we get our C as, let's substitute 17 at A and minus 1 at here. Okay, let's see that it's 15 minus 17, which is minus 2. Minus 2 plus 1, we get minus 1. Okay, so this will be our answer for this one. Okay, just back substitution, we get this. Okay, so now this our Tn term becomes, so this means that our Tn is equals to A is minus, okay, minus 1, so it's minus n squared plus 17n, okay, minus 1. Okay, so this is our Tn. Okay, so now we can use this to find anything we want. Okay, now we have our Tn. Our Tns is equals to minus n squared plus 17 minus 1. Okay, so now we are supposed to find our T27. Okay, so as easy as that, we just have to simplify this one. Okay, so we just have to substitute 27 with n. Okay, so this means that is minus minus 27 squared. Okay, here we left our n, 17n plus 17 times 27 minus 1. Okay, so if you punch this on a calculator, you get the answer is minus 271. Okay, so this is our answer. Okay, so these were the steps to solving this one.